Hello and welcome to Jedi and the Mailman, a show where two old friends aim to deliver the best Star Wars talk in the galaxy. I'm Mike the Mailman. That's Jimmy the Jedi. And folks, we are back. We are back
Yeah.
talking Andor, getting you ready, excited. Going to recap last week's episodes 1, 2, 3 to try to hype you up, get you ready for episodes 4, 5, 6, and talk a little bit about what we're expecting out of these next 4 episodes. But before we get into all the Andor fun, I apologize right off the bat if my sound quality or video quality are terrible. We have no internet service here. We've been having lots of thunderstorms over the past few weeks, just massive thunderstorms and terrible winds and stuff like that. I've been without power for an extended period of time twice so far this year. Today, I'm just without internet, so we're working on my phone. So if the quality is poor, I apologize. But before we get into the Andor talk,
You look
Jimmy,
just as handsome as you usually do, Mike.
yeah, Jimmy, you just got back. We've been off for 2 weeks because you have been off gallivanting halfway across the world. Why don't you? I guess you kind of went through it today on the podcast, so any of our fans that are listeners of the podcast will know, your story. But for
Yeah.
those that don't, I myself included, why don't you give us the highlights of your fun-filled trip to
Wow. Well, I can tell you
Asia?
what the low light is: traveling 14-hour different, to a different time zone is 14 hours different than yours.
Yeah,
I am, like I told you, it took me 8 days to get used to it, and it's just gotten back to where I think I feel normal. So I'm hoping by the end
yeah,
of this week, I feel like I'm back in the United States. But other than that, lots and lots and lots of highs. Um, The celebration is a tricky thing because my first one was amazing. This last one was
hmm,
amazing. And then two in the middle, kind of like, because things didn't go the way that I wanted them to, and
yeah,
everyone's celebration is what they make of it. And that's easy to say when you have, you're coming off like maybe the best one I've ever had. You got all the panels, got in the store. I mean, and there's people that
hmm,
go there and like don't get anything. Um,
yeah,
I just I just filled out my survey, and again, I had the best, maybe best experience that I've had at a celebration, and I still ripped them. Like they're still making these same mistakes. They're
still
still
things they
doing
can
these.
do better.
It's like it's not just about me. It's about everybody that
Yeah,
goes and travels. And I know
right.
how much money we spent, how much time we spent. We're taking off work.
Hmm.
I left my swim team. I left my students. And again, it worked out for me. But lots of people, and then some. But anyway, so like, I don't want people to think like, well, Jimmy got his way, so he's happy. Like I shredded on the evaluations as far as lines, prices. I just found
Yeah.
out today that I bought these 4-pack of pins. They're
Hmm.
$45. They kind of trick you with the yen because you're like, oh, it's only this much yen, and then
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, because we're trying to figure some things out between the people that all went. And people bought stuff for each
Hmm.
other, and I was
Yeah.
like, holy crap! Like it didn't
Yeah.
cost me enough to get here in the first place, and you're charging me
Right.
$20 would have been fine, I think, celebration stuff. But anyways, highlights. Ugh, everything.
Yeah.
Day one was amazing. We got in early, got in there. I've never been in there before. It was set up like that. We were watching the Mad Rush come in. That was nuts. I've been part of the Mad Rush, but
Yeah.
watching it come at you was a whole different monster.
Yeah.
It's got
I used to
terrible.
work retail. So being on the other side of, how they used to do Black Friday, they'd have the doors closed and let those people in. I imagine it's a lot like that, where it's just a stampede of fools and you just
You
got to get
know,
out of the way.
Mike, you'll get my reference, and not everyone has, but it reminded me of watching moms going after Cabbage Patch Kids back in the
Mm.
80s. All those videos you
Oh
see the
God. Yeah.
doors open, moms
Hmm.
just in there fighting over it. Um,
Yeah. They'll stab
Jedi
you.
VIP, yeah, Jedi VIPs are tripping all over themselves, and that's not even that big of a
Mhm.
group. I mean, it's big, but it's
Yeah.
not that big. And then, of course, the general population comes in, and it's just, they've been lining up since 5 a.m. They've been out there for 4 hours.
Hmm.
They're excited.
Yeah.
But panels were amazing. All this information we got. Let's see, what happens. And I can't explain to you, and we're going to post it. I forgot that I recorded it. We just didn't want to get in trouble. But there was this hype video before, and I forgot to mention this on the show. So this wasn't in the show that came out today, but there was this hype video. I met this guy from Canada, and he and I were talking. We were probably He did not look like he was older than me, but his is his 12th celebration. Now, granted, I
Wow.
hadn't. He looked. He looked great for his age because I'm assuming he's around my age or a little bit older. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
dude, Canada's got some good, whatever, good air up there. But
Clean living.
yeah, so they had this hype video come on, and he and I were both crying by the end of it. It was just like everything that was good in Star Wars, and then the energy
Mhm.
level in those places. And you're like, I don't know how many thousands of people are in that room with you, but everyone there loves Star Wars,
Yeah.
and there's none of this crap that there's none of this negativity. People aren't happy with everything, but
Right.
God, just the energy in the I've just never been a part of it. I thought that watching the Rise of Skywalker trailer would be something that would never get eclipsed with,
Mhm.
that was like everyone in Celebration Chicago. We watched it together, and that was
Mhm.
pretty special. This was even more. This was like everything that was good about Star Wars was on that screen at one point. People just cheering for what they loved. Um, and it's weird because I don't know why they haven't showed it. It's incredible. Like I said, I
Yeah.
recorded it. We're gonna post it. Hopefully we don't get in trouble for it or get anyone mad at us. But I don't think so because there's nothing in it that's new. So we're hoping that, but we'll post that later, probably tomorrow or something. But and then that just kicked things off. We got
Yeah.
in there and that started it. You got hyped about the Ryan Gosling thing and
Yeah.
movie and just, continuously. And then our panel went well. I didn't feel like it went well because like for me, sitting and teaching didn't I was like, I can sit and talk to you, I can sit and talk to
Right.
Charlie and Jack, but if I
Mhm.
have students or in front of me, I want to be standing up and moving. And so
Yeah.
it felt really weird, but it went
Yeah.
well. Everyone, gave us kudos. I'm not what I gonna say, you guys suck. No one said that,
Are
so
you
that was
got
good.
are you gonna post that? Are you gonna post your
It was
panel
on
anywhere at any
Facebook
time?
Live. On
Right. So I
Facebook
didn't get to
Live, we
see it.
posted. I will see if I can rip that off of Facebook. I don't know how that works.
Mhm.
And then post it. It was just a class on stuff. Like I'll watch it,
Yeah.
see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Just need some
I
like
was
to
super
come back.
excited to see it. Yeah, I was super excited to see it, but like I said, I was on YouTube. It didn't come up on YouTube, so I went to the
Yeah,
celebration
no.
site. There's nothing on there. And I don't have Facebook. You
Well,
know the deal. So
yeah, no, I don't blame you. Well, the thing was too is like the night before they told us we got this email saying like you may not have service inside this building.
yeah,
So then I was like, what? Like everything's based on like it's Canva, it's online, and
right.
all these videos, and I'm just like, what the hell, And so I stayed up real late, pulling everything off of Canva, putting it on another platform so that we could have it if we didn't.
Yeah,
I was stressing out, and then it was
yeah.
the best
That's
moment
super
for.
amazing when you're like super excited for something, nervous as can be, and then one more thing like that. Oh, you might not have internet access, so
Yeah, and I
it's
was
like
like, "What the
ah!
hell?" Like, but it turns out we had the best. Never had any. We never didn't have service. Like it was like full,
Yeah,
all bars, full bars. Um, so that went well. The guys from Fantha Tracks and some new people we met from um, Canada. Um, and that's the thing too, man. Like on our way to get our badges the day early, we met this guy from Poland. We met another guy from England, and they tagged along with us because like we all didn't know what we were doing. So you're just sitting there talking. I'm talking to a guy from Poland that's like an engineer, and it's just crazy.
yeah,
That next night, or that same day, we met this couple from Canada, and they're amazing. And we were friends on Facebook, and we've been chatting. And that's Star Wars Celebration in a nutshell. You just meet
yeah,
so many people, and I can't say that everyone I listened to around me I thought was great. Some people, whoa, but they probably thought the same thing about me. But the people there, it's just such a cool thing. Every day was
yeah.
awesome. We ended up dipping out a little bit early on Sunday to go to Osaka, so we could start doing so I could start doing some touristy things, and that didn't disappoint either. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Himeji
yeah,
Castle, all the things I teach about in my classes, I got to see in person, and it's just
awesome.
the people that were with me, Molly, my sister and brother-in-law, Danny, one of my assistant coaches, like they don't appreciate it the way I do, but they were blown away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like I was just like this. I mean, the Japanese people they're amazing. This is an amazing culture, amazing
hmm
people. Um, It's so different from here. I don't know if it's better or worse, because they seem like just like they're grinding. Students are grinding, adults are grinding. There were a couple instances where we've seen like we were out at a place or we're at a coffee shop or, I can't remember where else we were, but like people having a good time. The baseball game.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of cool things. It just, like I said, it's different. It was really neat. If you ever get a chance, I highly suggest going and checking it out. It's definitely worth it. You'll need a week and a half or so,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
at
Anytime you
least.
travel
Yeah,
that far. Hmm.
yeah. Because I mean, we barely scratched the surface of Tokyo, and we were there for 6 days, and then we spent a little bit, or 5 or 6 days, and we spent a little bit of time outside of that. We did so much on one day from Osaka to Omeji, back to Kyoto, back to Tokyo. Like it was crazy the stuff we got accomplished. But
Yeah.
yeah, overall, just an amazing experience. It helped that everything was rolling for me. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, it really does. It does affect you. Like Anaheim, I'm like devastated and pissy because like it just
Right.
wasn't getting panels, wasn't, like everything that could go wrong went wrong. And it was just, and so I kind of sympathize with people. And I didn't like say some of the stuff some people were saying online, but, um, just for me personally. But, you know, yeah, it was pretty amazing. I'm pretty hyped for Los Angeles. This is only probably the, like I said, second time after a celebration. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Like going to another one. And originally, it
Hmm.
all started out like I went to Chicago as like a bucket list. I'm going to do it once and done. But it's just so much fun, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
And
there's just
this
stuff
next
that you
one.
get to see that no one else ever gets to see, and you get to share it with people that are Star Wars fans, and you make new friends.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it was pretty cool. And then the people in Japan, like, they did a really great job of just being organized, being polite, being patient. They would
Yeah.
make better Jedi than most Americans because they are patient, they're understanding, like and legitimately, and
Mhm.
there's a lot to be said about that. I could teach. I actually bombarded my class with it because we're talking about Japanese expansion prior to World War II right now, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Mr. Adams, like enough, man." I was just bombarding them with like, just
It
all this
was,
information and my
yeah.
insights from being there. But yeah, overall, just great. It was awesome to be with Jack, and spend that time. And Molly and I just kind of laugh about like we're in Japan, like what I mean, like it still
Yeah.
didn't even feel real when we were there. And you're eating
Right.
amazing ramen or having sake or
Mhm.
getting food out of a vending machine because the vending machines are
Yep.
everywhere and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. It was pretty cool. It was like a dream,
Yeah.
kind of.
It's so much easier to travel and see like the Western kind of, the English speaking parts of the world. You know what I mean? Like you're more comfortable, it's easier to get
Oh
around and
yeah,
stuff like that. To go to a place like Japan where you don't speak the language, you have no concept of how to speak the language. You know what I mean? Like even
don't
going
even
to
have
like Italy and
yeah.
France and stuff like that, some words. But you go to Italy or you go to Japan and it's completely different. Like it's daunting, it's scary, but it's interesting to experience something so very different than our Western culture, you know? It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you saw a lot in the Navy, right? I mean, you were out in
yeah,
ships and
yeah,
ported and
yeah, yep. I was in Nagasaki, Japan for
see,
a couple of days.
I
Actually, I
really
think just
want to
one
go there.
day. Yeah.
But
But it
it's
was
still at least another
yeah,
2 hours.
interesting to see. Went to Peace Park there, the
Oh,
eeriest place I've ever been. I mean, you can just feel the weight of that place. I mean, it's one thing I'll never forget. Just that feeling of being there and knowing that this is where the atomic bomb dropped. It's yeah, but yeah, I've been there and been other cultures and other places in Asia and whatnot, in the Middle East, and just such different cultures. And it's nice to get out, have that opportunity to get to see the world.
yeah.
You know,
I'm super excited. It's something I'll hold on to forever.
yeah,
I don't know if I'll ever make it back there. I mean, last time they had celebration there was 2008. Molly
yeah.
always laughs because like we would not have ever said we're going to Japan if it hadn't been for celebration. So glad I have a wife that's up for adventures. So
Yeah, yeah, it's
fortunate.
great.
But yeah, so yeah, overall great. I mean, I can't complain. Met lots of fun people. Got lots of,
Mhm.
just spent a lot of money.
Not bad.
um, yeah, and
Well,
I
if you're
didn't even realize
gonna
how
go, you
much.
might as well.
Yeah, that's what we said. We're just like, you know what, the hell with it. Like, we're here. We're not coming back.
It's a
Probably
once
not
in a
coming back.
lifetime event.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like, I missed that southern part, Nagasaki,
Mhm.
Hiroshima, just being a history teacher, wanting to, like you said, I wanting to be there and be able to like
Yeah.
take it all in. And I know they have that one building that's still there, and just just would have been. But getting to see Himeji Castle and kind of like samurai and
Yeah.
Jedi, and so that was pretty cool too. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna complain. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's lots. I mean, lots to see, lots to experience for
yeah,
sure. All right. Well, I'm glad you had a great time. I wish I could have been there, but
yeah,
yeah, I
awesome.
mean, I kind of wish I could have been there.
Yeah,
There's things about big gatherings like that that just I don't necessarily enjoy, but there's parts of it that I'm disappointed I missed out on. But
yeah.
anyway,
Like Himeji area was really wide open. There wasn't a ton, even though there was a lot of tourists to the castle. It was like a wide open
mhm.
small town. Just happens to have an ancient Japanese samurai castle in the middle of it. You know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking people getting stuffed into the trains where the train doors are barely able to
Oh yeah.
close.
Hmm.
I only had to do that once. I let a train go by. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." Like,
Yeah.
it's not happening.
It's so nice though traveling over there. I know everywhere I went overseas has such a better mass transit system than anywhere
Oh,
in
yeah.
America. Like
Yes.
all these places we ported, we didn't have vehicles and we didn't take taxi cabs too often. They just had trains. You could
Yeah.
go everywhere on a train. It's great.
Crazy how especially their system with the bullet train, that is nuts.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah.
thing's traveling 200 miles an hour or something like that, and, like, you
Mhm.
just, like, boom, you're there, or 100 mile I don't even know
Yep.
what it was, but, yeah, I mean, we were traveling, we're looking at a map, you're like, "Whoa." If we'd had an extra day or 2, we would've gone a little further south, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. Won't do it all. So I guess that covers your experience in Japan. So that was our first bit of the show. So we're moving on to Andor. What what are your feelings about these first 3 episodes, Jimmy? I'm sure you enjoyed them, right?
Oh my god, yeah. I don't understand I don't understand the backlash of mostly season or episode 3 stuff. I don't understand
Mhm.
the backlash because it all made sense to
Yeah.
me. It all
Yeah,
fit for
me too.
me. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't like it. I don't like to see that stuff on the screen, but it all
Yeah.
made sense. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know, people live under a rock or, you know, whatever. I mean, I actually saw something really smart today is someone showed the photo of Leia slammed up against Jabba and his tongue coming out. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, this didn't happen in 1983, did it?" Like and I was like,
Right.
"Yeah, I mean," and, her and Bix kinda have the same thing, but, yeah, I loved it. I think it shows exactly like, right off the bat, Cassian's a leader. You can see it. The way he talks to that young
Mhm.
lady, she's
Yeah.
scared.
Oh,
He
yeah.
brings her around.
Mhm.
You can tell, like, right from that start that he's been doing this for a while. He's had these interactions,
Yeah.
and it's like anything in life. And sometimes I just think people have not experienced enough in life to realize, like, the more you do something, the better you get at it. It's like this for us,
Mhm.
right? I mean, think about the first time you
Yeah.
were on this show, nervous and like,
Right.
I was just thinking to myself, like,
Mhm.
you rattled off our intro. I'm like, damn, Mike's getting good at this now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
just, just, yeah, just epic. Exactly
Yeah.
what I wanted. I mean, I think, of course, I guess we're spoiling because everyone, I mean, season, or I keep wanting to
Well,
say
yeah,
it's like season 3 starts tonight, but
yeah. I hope you've seen the first 3 episodes if you're tuning into this, because yeah, we didn't say
yeah,
spoiler warning, but we're gonna get into it. I mean, I'm planning on going through, a couple of different arcs here. We'll get through as much as we can because, of course, we wanna get off of here at 9 o'clock so that everybody can get to watching the show. But so, like, overall, what did you think about the format? And do you think it felt like a movie, or was it still like TV to you?
I'll agree with Carlisle here. Incredible first scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carlisle, we got to watch that on this massive screen at one of the panels, and it was phenomenal just to get to watch Star Wars with Star Wars people. But yeah, I wish that it just played straight through, like, you didn't have to stop, start another a thing. I think that hinders it a little bit. Does that make sense? Like, I
Yeah.
love the fact that we
Yeah,
got
I
the
mean
3 episodes because if you paid attention to where
mhm.
each one ends, you could be so mad at the way it ends.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
like you were in season 1, but you get to finish that arc. Um, the anticipation at the end is like, oh, I can't wait to see, next week's. But it wasn't like, well, I need to finish the story. It's like, okay, what's next? I think it's
Mhm.
different. I do wish that you just push play and it just kind of rolled through. But I get it. All those people need to, everyone who works in those needs to get
Yeah.
their credit due, and I understand that's part of the business. But yeah, I liked it. I like it the 3 episodes. I don't like it for the coverage that we do. I feel like we're missing out so much, but we can,
Yeah.
talk about for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But how about you? Do you like it that way? I mean, I know like
I
for you at 9 o'clock at night, I mean, you're
uh-huh.
not getting done until like 11. That's
Well,
bonkers. At
right. I
11:30.
can tell you it does not feel like a movie to me. One part of it is because I have ads. Like I have the Disney Plus with ads. So, it's just it still feels like TV because I'm watching ads. But you're right. I do like the release of the 3 episodes. I like to be able to know that it's there and I can watch those three and get the complete arc. But like my kind of rhythm for watching this now is like Tuesday nights. I mean, I've only been through 1 week here, but like tonight, after we're done with this, I'll probably watch the first episode. And then tomorrow night, my wife has class. She does internet school, taking college classes. So she'll be on in class for 2 hours tomorrow night. So while she's in class, I'll watch the other 2 episodes. That's how I did it last week. And I like that I found some way that I can make sure that I watch it within the first 24 hours of its release. That's great. But it doesn't feel like a movie. Like you
Yeah.
said, it would be great if you could sit and just watch it straight through with no break, no commercials. I think maybe it would be more cinematic. I mean, we're not, despite how our home entertainment systems and whatnot might be, it's still not the same as going and seeing a movie in a theater.
Oh,
But I do like. I would say overall, I'm pleased with the getting it in arcs like this. I think it
yeah.
works out pretty well.
Yeah, nothing matches Star Wars on the big screen. Like getting to see episode 1 of season 2 on the big screen.
Mhm.
And then I watched all 3 episodes on my phone on the flight home, and then last night Molly hadn't watched it, so we watched all 3 episodes again. Um,
Yeah.
and we got a decent sized TV, but it's still not the same.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and but yeah, I mean it's and then of course seeing the Revenge of the Sith on the that's where Star Wars belongs. I don't care
Yeah.
what anyone says. Star Wars belongs in the theater. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're getting the whole story each week because like
Mhm.
just the way they end, just like
Yeah.
God, like dang, like they know what they're doing. They get you all hyped up, and boom, done.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
yeah,
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Cassian arc. So
all
that's
right,
how it starts out.
yeah,
Um, to me, okay, I have mixed feelings on it. I think like his arc was great because it set that tone right away with action. It provides some comic relief, like dealing with those the warring factions of the rebels. Like
yeah, yeah,
they're idiots, and there's some funny moments in there. And as heavy as this is, you need that. You need some comic relief. You need some action, and I really think Cassian's arc provided that. But I do think I was disappointed with Cassian being captured by the rebels.
the
I mean,
Mayan Pay, yeah,
it's important to show that the rebels are disorganized, they're not together, like kind of sets up what's going to happen down the line. We're 4 years out. In 4 years, these guys are going to be, a sophisticated fighting force. But right now, they are disorganized. They don't know what they're doing. They're fools. So, I mean, I liked everything that was set up there, and it's important to hit all those topics. I felt, but I don't know. I was just disappointed with Cassian throughout those 3 episodes, spending most of the time in handcuffs, stuck and not going anywhere. I mean, it did show, like you mentioned earlier, how Cassian's grown. You can see that he's definitely a leader. He wasn't worried. He was, you have all those shots of him like getting water, like sipping it out of a bowl that's being collected and getting underneath a drop and letting it drop into his mouth. Like he knows how to take care of himself. He's very confident. It shows his growth. But I was just a little disappointed with not a whole lot of movement with his character. What do you think?
yeah. I see. I was fine with it because we got the action at the beginning, we got the action at the end of these arcs. Now, if you're sitting there
Mhm.
watching it week by week, I think that might have been a little more frustrating for me.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think like it shows, like you said, I mean, it's really so simple to me. Him working with that young lady, I wish I could remember her name because she was great. Um,
Yeah, that scene, that first scene, that was great. Like
yeah,
you said,
so that shows him there, and then of course, like you said, Mike, like he never gets too rattled, he doesn't get too worried. But then I just think it's funny. He's like, well, hey, he's the only reason his group of rebels are still alive
mhm.
because he's like, hey, it's not going to rain forever. Hey, if they're moving this, they're going to get 50 meters. Why don't we shoot at them?
Mhm.
What about this? And it just, he just kind of manipulated and didn't even have to work very hard. I think it's just showing how good he is at what he's doing. I mean,
Yeah.
we got a little bit of it. I was fine with it, I think, because there was enough going on with the other arcs that it made sense that they're showing this. And of course,
Mhm.
the big reveal of where they're at,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah, yeah. That
planet
was the
they're
other
on. I
thing
think
too, yeah.
that's the payoff. The
Mhm.
big payoff is like, well, holy crap, like how are they gonna like get that place to be safe? But yeah, I was fine
Yeah,
with it. I honestly had zero problems with it. I thought it was cleverly
yeah.
done. I mean, I thought that those rebels were kind of stupid, but I also think that's showing you that not everyone is Saw Gerrera, not everyone is Luthen
Mhm.
Rail, not everyone is Mon
Yeah,
Mothma, and like,
yeah,
and I think we're gonna see some of this with the Gorman front coming up. Um,
yeah.
yes, I mean, I had no problems with it. I thought that it it gave us what we needed from Andor, like to see him, see Cassian. Now we know the next three. I keep calling them seasons. The next three arcs, um, including tonight's. Like, there's no doubt that he's. And then if you see him panicking, you know that he's, isn't pretty. Like
Oh, yeah,
with the
yeah.
Tie Fighter, like he's like, I didn't train for this, but I thought it did everything it needed to do. And I also
Mhm,
thought that like with everything that was happening with Daedra and Mon Mothma and Bix, I thought that was
mhm.
enough to keep my attention, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, like, for me, it really is just a small nitpicky sort of thing. Because 'cause you're right, it hits all those points. It provides that little bit of comic relief, it provides the action, and another thing about those rebels too, I find interesting is, okay, we're 4 years out from the Battle of Yavin. We're showing what those rebels on Yavin are right now. And in 4 years' time, they're an elite fighting force because they're fighting for something. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, the Empire is so much farther ahead as far as, like, fighting, warfare and whatnot. They're organized, they're composed, they have the equipment, they got everything they need. These guys are bumbling idiots, but they're fighting for something in the end. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And I made mention last night when we were watching the first arc, Tamale. I was like, the Empire would have whooped these guys' butts if they were not
mhm.
so busy
Yeah.
backstabbing each other, climbing ladders. I mean, even Daedra, I mean,
Mhm.
she's, season one. So, I mean, the
Yeah.
Empire, yes, big and mighty, but they're definitely flawed as well. But I mean, they have the
Mhm.
oomph behind it. So that makes
Yeah.
up for a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I liked it. I thought it was a strong start. And it'll depend too on how this all ends too. Like, do we see this massive growth over what will be 4 years of Cassian Andor? It's the guy that
Yeah.
we see. I've been in this fight since I've been 6 years old. Like, because we're starting to see the stuff that's made him hard and mean with the way that you know what happens to Brasso and everything like that, which I
Yeah.
thought was not cool,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, we'll get to that here. It's definitely something I wanna talk about as Brasso. But so moving on past the Cassian arc, how about the Dedra arc? So, what do you think about her and Cyril's relationship? You think they're a
I
good fit, and you think there's a
I
future for
feel
those
like
two?
she like legitimately cares about him because the way at first I was like, this is like that, not Stockholm syndrome where you fall in love with your captor or whatever. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
probably sparked it to get them together. But
Mhm.
they are kind of the same person. They're both super driven. They're both
Mhm.
pro Empire.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and those two couldn't be different from the actors that play them. It's so funny to see them on interviews and things like that. But I think they're a good couple. It looks to me, 'cause at first I thought, well, maybe they're just together because of that. But like, she wouldn't have put Edie in her place the way she does if she
Uh,
didn't care about
yeah.
the stress that she's causing Cyril. So I'm like,
Mhm.
it makes sense, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah, it
So
does. Yeah, they're like they're
It's weird. Don't get me wrong.
fascists.
I wouldn't want to have dinner with them.
No, it's crazy because they're the bad guys. They're definitely fascists, but you're kind of cheering for them. You know what I mean? Like they're a
Hope
good
this crazy
couple. You're like,
couple
yeah,
makes it.
I
Yeah,
hope those crazy kids get have a nice life
yeah,
together. But so I was thinking like the uh the revelation that Dedra, in the dinner conversation, when Cyril's mom asked her about her family, and she comes out and says, "I don't have a family. I was an orphan. I was raised by the Empire, basically." Does that, to you, explain? Like to me, it was a light bulb moment. Oh, this is why she is how she is. Like she's more than just. She's more than just has this goal that she grew up as a little girl and saw power and she wanted to emulate that. She's been raised for this. Like it
yeah.
seems like a
Think of
very stark existence. Like this is what you're going to be. I think it explains a lot about what her character is.
Yeah. There has been some timeline continuity issues here that some of the complainers, and they
Uh
might
huh.
be onto something because technically, like, she shouldn't have been. The Empire technically wasn't around. I don't know.
Right.
I got to double check. But again, growing up in foster care or growing up in an institution,
Hmm.
yes, I would say she was raised for it. Emotionless, just focus driven. You now have no idea what she went through. Carlisle says,
Right.
or Carly, is it Carly? Carlisle.
I can't see it
Um,
at all, but it's a tiny little
is
screen on my
Daedra just
phone.
trying to control him? I don't know. I don't know if she is trying to control him. I mean, she probably tries to control everything in her life, but
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I it made again. I like the backstory. It made sense. I mean, I know there's some continuity issues there. I think I'd have to go
Yeah.
back and double check myself, but yeah, for me it makes sense. Like she's raised in the system. I think of Hitler Youth or
Hmm.
things like that, where like if you're raised to do a certain thing or be a certain way, I mean, um, yeah, and
Well, that kind of leads me to my next question here too. Is like I think about that scene where she's at the door waiting for Cyril's mom to come in, and she's hands behind her back, and you see her fidgeting. Like maybe she's just nervous because she's about to meet his mother. But I wonder, like, is there a ton going on underneath the surface that she's just like all of her training, all of her, the way she grew up, if she's just holding everything in check and like she has to maintain control or she's going to fall to pieces. So it makes me wonder, like, is she hopelessly devoted to fascism or is there some humanity in her? Like, is she ready to crack and become a real human? Or,
see,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good question because I've been wondering personally if her and Cyril, one or the two of them, is going to flip
yeah.
because
We definitely, I mean, we
I know
know
she doesn't want.
from seeing the teaser trailer beforehand, we
Mhm.
know there's going to be the incident where she's grabbing her throat, she's having that panic attack. We think it's a panic attack. We know that that's coming at some point, and you see
Yeah.
that nervous twitch behind her back. And there's just these little signs, maybe that maybe she's just kind of holding it together. Maybe she's ready to come apart.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't
there is some.
I think she's like anybody though, like her job gives her focus, and I don't know, she may not even know what she is committed to, and I think maybe, Gorman happens and she's like, "What have I done?" Like Barracks happens, it's not necessarily her fault, but if she's the driving force behind Gorman and what we think's gonna happen,
Mhm, mhm.
the Gorman massacre and everything, like, I mean, it's gonna change people. I mean, you sit there and you think
Yeah.
about, I'm only a history teacher, but there have been powerful people who have they've seen the devastation they've wrought and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done." I mean, I think of like the Buddhists in India where they've seen battles and they're just like, "Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm done."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't think she's hopelessly devoted to fascism. I think like a lot of times when we see people flip from the empire, the idea of bringing stability to the universe makes sense, and until you see how
Mhm,
you're doing it, because in her in
Yeah.
her position, she's not really doing anything wrong. But then we see what the a-holes that are on the ground,
Yeah.
in other places,
Mhm.
what we see in season
Mhm.
3, like, there's no way that people like, I don't think she condones things like that. I don't think you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, she's gonna be, "Yeah, go out there and just tear these people apart and
Mhm.
abuse these women and do these
Right.
things." Like, of course not. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes, like, the idea but how do you get there?
Mhm.
They don't always match up, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, like you said, like the you're in that position, the stability, the like, just look at their apartment. Like, it is very stark, it is very plain,
It's
but
very them.
it is it's well appointed, like, they have like, it's all there, like, better
It's
than,
massive.
better than
Way
those
bigger
rebels
than
in reality, like, they have a
yeah.
nice life put together for themselves. Like, Cyril goes through a 9 to 5 where he finally has purpose, you know what I mean? Like, they do have this wonderful life, seems to be
Guy would
coming together for him. And yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you don't want to rock the boat too much. You don't want to think too much about what's going on. But yeah,
Yeah. Carlisle says Daedra should be stationed on the Death Star in the end. Oh, like, maybe gets her final appointment will be at the Death Star. Oh, that would be hilarious and kinda like, "Oh, man." Unless she turns out to be a real giant a-hole, you'll be like, "Okay."
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. That's a good shout, Carlisle. That's pretty funny. I never even thought about that. Her and Cyril
yeah.
going to pick up the Death Star just at the wrong time. But yeah,
It
no,
could happen.
I I think there's a lot left of that arc,
Yeah.
or seeing the
Oh
beginning
yeah.
of it. I think
Yep.
these 2 middle years that we're getting tonight
Mhm.
and next Tuesday night, I think that's gonna tell us a lot about her, and,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm excited to see it play out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Mon Mothma arc. First note I have here is rich people are terrible. Now, I know some people loved the extravagance of, the ball and the wedding and everything like that. Like, some people love that dress up in ball gowns and party. Like, to me, it is disgusting. I hate seeing rich people flaunt their wealth like that. Like, it is awful. I cannot stand it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, as a fan of Star Wars, I thought it was amazing, like,
Mhm.
like, the opulence not the opulence itself, but the sets, the
Yeah.
pageantry that they've created for these, shows, but, yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't wanna get political on here, but, we live in America, so of course I don't,
That's true.
so and that's all I'll say about that. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that though because Mon is one of the most wealthy, and look what she's trying to do with it. Like she's
Yeah.
not,
Yes. Yeah.
that Scaldon's not a good dude. I mean, he's spending.
Yeah.
I mean, they said that statue costs more than the house, which I mean, good
Yeah.
lord, that mansion thing. I
Yeah.
mean, just yes. So in the
Yeah.
grand scheme, like in the real world, yeah, I would not want to be part of that. But watching it as a Star Wars fan, I thought it was amazing.
But yeah, I mean, apparently you do kind of have to have somebody operating in that world, whether they like it or not, because the rebels, you cannot survive without a benefactor, right? Like, somebody has to be paying the bills.
Well,
So,
those, yeah, I mean,
and somebody's got to do that dirty work.
no, I mean, it's like
I mean,
anything.
I always just look at that stuff with such disgust. I hate seeing rich people flaunt. But my next question was Luthen. Luthen Rail. Is Luthen a psychopath?
See, I want to know his backstory. I
I
don't
do
think we're
too.
going to get it. I don't think we're going
Nope,
to get it.
I don't think so either.
Something has happened.
Mhm,
He is a historian. I mean, and, and,
mhm,
and historians have done kinds. I mean, Vladimir Lenin was a historian, right? His brother was a
mhm,
social studies teacher, and he grew up, and um, even Mon Mothma in the book Mask of Fear, she would rather be teaching classes like history classes. She says a bunch of times in the book, like she could retire and go and teach and do these
yeah,
things. I don't know if Luthen is a psychopath. I know Luthen is dedicated and he understands what it takes. I think
yeah,
that he is the Force has the light and the dark,
mhm,
and he's the equal to the Emperor without being a
right,
Sith Lord. Like, because he's willing to do. Like he even says in his thing, he's
mhm,
he's damned to use his enemies' tactics, Like he has to do what he's doing the same things they're doing, but for a
Yep.
better cause. So I don't know
Yeah.
if he's. I mean, maybe he is though, because I mean,
Well,
to
here's the thing for
organize
me.
all that and to like,
Mhm.
you think about the stuff he like Anton Krieger and all that stuff from season 1, dealing with people like Saw. I don't know. I,
To me, like being a psychopath, it's not a bad thing. It's just it's not having the feeling, which is important for someone like him. Like he's not out for power, obviously.
no, that's the
Luthen's not
thing.
seeking power. He's trying to do the right thing. And he can make those calls to take care of somebody without batting an eye. He just like to me, he is
The,
a
the
psychopath. But like
Cinta
I said, it's
Express.
not bad. It's an important thing. It's an important thing to have on your side because there are things you don't want to contemplate. There are things you don't want to do, and Luthen seems to be able to do them with ease, which is
Well,
highly, highly necessary for the
I
cause.
think that one line in the end of episode 3, where she's like, "I don't know what you mean." He goes, "How lovely for you."
Uh-huh. Oh, I
Like,
know. I
I'll handle
love that
this.
line.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
I think that doesn't come across nasty too, or just as like, "How lovely
Nope.
for you." He goes
Uh-huh.
and he takes a one
That
way ride on the Cinta Express. So
that was one of the most powerful lines. Like as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, I got to talk about that. I
yeah,
freaking love that line when you drop that. Just like
yeah,
it just says so much, and it leads into my next thing too. Like so, it's shortly after that that we get into the Mon party Mon. You know,
party mom.
it's I mean, so much is on her shoulders. So much is just coming crashing down, and it just escalates to the point with she's basically sold off her daughter. Her daughter doesn't want to, is lost respect for her. She doesn't, and then she
Your
has that
daughter
conversation
sucks.
with Luthen. Yeah. I was like, well, she's just a dog. She's just a teenage girl, you know? I
It's
mean,
funny because people with kids are like, "Oh, she's just a kid." I'm like, "Nah, she
yeah.
sucks."
She's just a kid, man. But it all comes to a head with her having that conversation with Luthen and him saying, oh, how wonderful for you. You'd never have to do anything like this. And then she just goes. She's
Yeah,
down in shots. She's drinking, and
that's a
one thing
club.
I don't know if other people notice, but some people have said like she's having her last fun time that she's gonna have. I don't
I
think
don't
she
think
was
she's
having
having
fun.
fun.
Like if you
Me
look at her
neither.
face, she's never smiling. She's just going at it. And there's a one scene where what's her husband's name again?
Perrin,
Perrin.
Perrin.
Yeah. Perrin sees her, gets this little smile, and he thinks, "Oh, wow, she's having a good time." And then the smile goes away, and he sees it. He realizes she's not out there having fun. She's not dancing the night away and having a good old time. She
No.
is in pain. She's just trying to forget. Like she is ready to do something terrible. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the it's that's what I saw in that the dancing and drinking and stuff like that. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't want to talk to anybody else. She just wants to get lost in that moment and maybe forget. But in no way is she having her last good time.
No, yeah. First off, Carlisle says, would love to know the story with him and Clea and how they started. Yeah, I would. Maybe a book. I think, Carlisle, honestly, I
Yeah.
think we're getting that information in books 2 and 3 of the Reign of the Empire series. Like, I feel like that's like the logical progression of those stories is for her to meet Luthen. And I think so. If you haven't read Mask of Fear, the first book in the Reign of the Empire, check it out. It's a better, I mean, it's even more Mon Mothma and stuff. But yeah, um, yeah, people are like, "Oh, it's disrespecting the character from the 1980s." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, she just, like you said, all the stuff she's given up, everything she's about to
Mhm.
do, the stress that she's under, and there's no way for her to, and it's a moment of weakness for her, I think. Like, she's gonna
Yeah.
berate her. If we were like, if this was like a series where like they originally talked about where it was gonna be each season was gonna be a year, I think the next episode would be her pissed off that she had that moment of weakness and tightening things up. So I think we're
Yeah.
gonna get a more rigid Mon. We're gonna get a more, you know,
Hmm.
she has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. To
and
me, it was almost
yeah,
like
totally made sense to me. What else would you do in that
Yeah,
situation?
yeah.
You can kind of
She
disguise it
needs
by you're at a wedding and
mhm. She needs time to think. She doesn't have time. Like, she can't keep that fake smile on and keep talking to people and, greeting people. Like, and you can't. It's your daughter's wedding. You can't go lock yourself in a room away from everything. The only place
no.
she can be lost for a while to be within her head and try to work these things out is out there on the dance floor, just going at it. Nobody's talking to her. She's just working through it, man. Just working through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no problem with it. I was like, that's the thing to me though, is like we've seen clips of her dancing and going crazy for a
Hmm.
month and a half, and no one says
Yeah.
a word except for these people trying to get hate clickbait and clickbait.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly.
dude, you
Nope.
know, like you knew this was coming. Like
Hmm.
what could have made it okay for her to be dancing like a fool? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I
Hmm.
thought this was a better reason because I think it's out of her personality if she just does that. Like she's just dancing
Yeah.
without all the shots. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense to me. This makes
Nope.
sense.
This makes
So
perfect sense. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
but
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay. Well, we got one more arc to get through. Okay.
yeah.
Before we talk about what we want to see or what we expect to see in year two. But all right, so we got the Vix arc and all um, the folks from Cassian's planet. What the heck's that planet called? Where they're all from?
The Ferrex?
Yeah, the Ferrex people. That's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
So we have the death of Brasso.
Oh yeah.
We knew this is coming. Like, very
Yeah.
few people are going to make it through this alive,
Oh,
and
many of them are.
even the people that make it through alive aren't going to make it past, you know, the
Yeah.
next movie. So
Yeah. It's true.
Brasso. I mean, do you think the death was handled well?
Yeah, because even in his end, he was trying to save people. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I'm with you there for sure. I mean, that character, that when he's there, um, in the middle of all the stormtroopers, and he accosts his buddy,
yeah,
like to get him off the hook.
yeah,
That's Brasso, man. That's just
yeah,
amazing. But what I'm getting at is, did did they handle Brasso's death well? Like, you see him laying there on the speeder, you don't all you know, like the stormtrooper took aim and fired. Next thing you know, he's on the ground with the speeder. Cassian barely has any time with him, and then they're off. To me, I would have liked to have seen. I don't know. I'd like to have seen that death settle in more. Settle upon Cassian. Have a little bit of time to really process. Maybe
I think,
pick his body up and take him with them. Something.
yeah,
But it just
I
seemed to
think
like
that,
an afterthought, an aside.
yeah, see, I think that they did that intentionally. This is my point of view is like you can, because even Molly last night when we were watching it, and I mean, 'cause I almost cried the first time I saw that scene. I was like, oh God, like I love
Yeah.
Brasso. Um,
Mhm.
and
Just
Molly,
big
when
part
they're
of the
flying
creature.
away with Wilman and Bix, and they're all distraught, she's like, man, Cassian's torn up, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have time. Like I think this was supposed to show how pointless, like, the Empire doesn't care. They just killed this character that, I mean, you had to be an animal if you didn't like Brasso. Like you'd have
Yeah.
to be a psychopath if you couldn't,
Hmm.
you weren't rooting for Brasso. And of course they give him a love, and
Yep.
he's so sweet to be to. And I think
Hmm.
it's just to show like the brutality of it. And then
Mm.
they can't do it. They can't even bury him. They can't do like in that,
Yeah.
and their culture was, that burial and that those rites of passage were super important. So not to
Yeah.
be able to do that, to have to escape because there's a bigger, there's
Yeah.
more
Yeah. Man.
at risk than just Brasso. That's how I
Yeah.
looked at it. And I can also see it from your point of view. Like, yeah, that sucks that he couldn't sit there with them, and you don't have him
Mhm.
crying, or you don't have him. He's like, he's trying to hold it all together, but you can see it in his face. I think
Yeah.
that's like one of the first steps in this season to him becoming the Cassian Andor that guns down his friend at the beginning of Rogue One. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he is, and so I hated the fact that it happened. I thought that the way, I mean, again, I I feel like they're doing things in a right way, and just
Yeah.
if you look at
No,
it,
that
you scratch the surface a little bit. I get it, and yeah, I mean, there could have been other ways to handle it, but I felt like that just showed the urgency and the absolute waste of
yeah.
good people,
Yeah.
and that just kinda ties into, like, the stuff you're gonna talk about next, and, um, just war and revolution and just how good people die and for no reason,
Mhm.
I can't even think of the word I'm trying to think of, it's just pointless that
Yeah.
Brasso's dead, you
Yeah.
know?
No, that makes a lot of sense to me now, the way you've spelt that out. Like, I was just kind of
I see what you're
I'm all
saying, though.
for
I have watched it
yeah, I mean
3 times, so
yeah, yeah. I'm all for like, people can tend to think that I like to see people die in movies. It's not that. It's just
it
it's
needs to have a
like
reason,
it's a
yeah.
step yeah, it's a step along the way. Like, the deaths, like, they mean something. When they
Yeah,
mean something, when they affect a character in some way. Like, I love to see, like, how that changes people and how it forces the growth and stuff like that. And that's I wasn't getting that, but now from what you said, looking at it from your perspective, that makes a whole lot of sense.
and do they mention Brasso later on? Is they like, for Brasso or you know what I mean? Like, him and Bix are gonna be doing something. I don't know if
Mhm.
we're gonna get that scene where they're blowing
Yeah,
that place up or, like, do this for Brasso or, he becomes a
yeah.
small martyr
He's
for
a
them,
martyr.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
'cause
get where you're coming from. I don't know, I felt like I was like, "Ah, like, it's so pointless," and just
mhm,
these good people dying, I don't know, yeah, and I was just like, "Ah, I'm so
yeah,
frustrated," but this is driving Cassian's story.
yeah, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So the next question I had here, I hate to get to this right now because we're right up against it, but the uh the sexual assault scene, was it
Yeah,
necessary or was it gratuitous violence? I think it was necessary. I mean, I think it tells you a lot about the Empire, about those kind of people, about those characters, and it puts it in your face that this is important. This is what
yeah,
happens in these situations. And, you know, she gets to be a hero taking that guy out, but she still had to experience that
yeah.
pain, that the the,
I
the trauma and everything of it. You know, I don't know. What are your feelings? I mean,
yeah,
was it gratuitous or was it necessary?
I think it was necessary in the way they did it. It would have been different if she would have just immediately kicked his butt. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, she just whoops him, like, that would have been kinda pointless. They could have, like,
Yeah.
flashed outside, then come back in, and he goes flying out the thing or something. They could have handled it differently. But
Hmm.
the fear and it does make me sick that people have to go through this, and,
Hmm.
and it happens all the time.
Unfortunately,
The
yeah.
fear in her eyes and the way she delivered, uh, that whole scene, she's not fighting back because she's brave, she's fighting back because she doesn't want that to happen to her, like, she's like a
Yes.
caged animal, and she just happens to be more battle worn and ready to do what needs to be done, and
Hmm.
I think it shows the cockiness of the Empire to think he thought that she was gonna just roll over
Yeah.
for him, basically,
Hmm.
and, and I think maybe in the grand scheme of things too, as we're talking about it, is that a metaphor for the Empire versus the rebels? Because the Empire thinks like we can just do
Yeah.
whatever we want to anybody, but then you got
Hmm.
this character of Bix who is afraid and she's fighting back because she has no other choice. Um,
Hmm.
and so like and that kind of just popped into my head. I get why people are upset by it. I get if you're a victim of this, I've got kids on my team that I know because of the tattoos that they have that they've gone through things in their lives and it makes me sad. Um, but to think that this doesn't happen, people are like, this doesn't happen. Darth Vader wouldn't condone. Of course, he wouldn't condone it. But this empire is so large, and this is so
Hmm.
historically accurate to the things that would happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it needed to happen. I think again, I mean, I felt like this whole first arc just everything was done bam, 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 and it makes you hate the empire. It was terrible to have to watch, and so,
Mm.
Karloff says there should have
Yeah.
been a content warning. Yeah, I was surprised because even in the books, one of the books,
Hmm.
some suicide stuff that goes on, and they have, like, a warning in the book about, like,
Yeah.
"We don't condone this, but this is a part of
Yeah.
life." And I was surprised, Carlisle, that there wasn't a warning about. Maybe there was.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, violence, and I don't know if SA
Oh, I'm
is
sure
like.
that was on there. Yeah, but I
But
don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, I thought it was necessary. I thought
Mhm.
that it it shows the Empire and what it happens in the world and what happens during these takeovers and
Yep.
yeah, and it's
Yep.
not fun to watch, obviously, like
The brutal truth of it all.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, that
keep it. I mean,
whole
I think we could talk a whole hour on that, but
yeah, the whole Darth Vader thing that's out there that just made no sense to me. Like the man that murdered children is going to care about anybody. Like,
Theory was just trying to get clickbait.
I
He's
know.
the dumbest human being on the face of the earth. Like to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah,
I get it. I agree with you. I don't think Vader would be okay with it, right? Like I
no,
don't. I think if he
no.
saw it happening, he's force choking that fool and is like, "Yeah, you're
Mhm.
dead."
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. But he's not concerned himself with the minor.
Vader will
Yeah,
never know that man's name, or you know
no,
what I mean? Like
no,
just
no,
asinine comments,
just silly. Yeah.
just clickbait, just and he got exactly what he wanted. He got people mad at him on both sides, people supporting,
Mhm.
people mad at
Yeah.
him. Like, I mean, he did. He okay. I take it back. He's really smart because he did exactly what he did. And he's like millions of views and he's making lots of money because
Yeah.
he said something that came across as stupid. So maybe I should give him more
Mhm.
credit. Like, well done, Theory. Way to
Yeah, I guess so.
get those clicks.
Yep, I guess so.
So
All right, just a couple more minutes left. So, uh, love to talk more about this stuff, but we gotta get ready for these next three episodes. So K2SO, he's gonna be in episode 4, right?
I have no idea.
He's
I
got.
don't
I mean,
know.
such a great character. I think before this, we wanted him to come in as early as possible. I love the
Yeah,
K2SO character. I love Alan Tudyk. I'm hoping that we get to see him now. Like he's in the mix. He's gonna be part of these arcs.
I think
We're
we
gonna
might
get the
get
K2SO that we're all waiting
the
for.
droid. I don't think we get K2 though. I think we might get the droid
No?
and something happens because I don't think K2 becomes K2 to
Oh well,
Cassian
true.
until
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody is gone and Bix is going to be gone. Willman's got to be gone. I so I wouldn't be shocked if it's like next week's episodes, but I mean
Hmm.
I would be pumped if we got it. I just that's the thing is you talked about how we're going to make predictions and I just am like I have no idea like
Oh
um
no.
so I hope
These are the
so,
yeah. There's like
but
two
I
things
don't.
that I come up with for predictions, and I
Yeah,
don't know. I have no idea for any of them. I'm to your point. I'm just so excited. Like whatever ideas I might have pale in comparison to what they're going to give us. You know what I mean? Like these
well, I
people are
think yeah,
experts. They're giving us the best Star Wars series we've ever seen. So I mean, I'm not here to say, oh, it's got to go this way or it's got to go that way. I'm just saying, I want to see K2SO. And then our other our other favorite droid, B2 Emo. I mean,
oh,
is
poor
is that the
B2.
last we see of B2 Emo? Is B2 Emo just going to live out his life on the farm?
I hope so
I kind of
because
do too.
that lady seemed really sweet.
Mm,
B2 needs a stable home.
yep.
That poor droid can't take too much more. But that was my first, honestly. I mean, I was choked up about Brasso. I stunned by the
No,
SA scene. But my first thought was just leaving B2. Like, what the hell? So I
yeah,
hope I'm 50-50. Like, I hope they just leave B2. He needs to. I don't know though, because B2's never gonna get closure though. So that poor droid's gonna sit
yeah,
there and
yep. That's just what I was
so
gonna say. I
I
For
don't know.
B2, I love to him. I would love to see that he just stays on the farm and he's gonna be okay. But if when you think about B2 Emo's feelings, he's not gonna get to see Cassian again, and that is freaking heartbreaking. You
Yeah.
know. So
But I mean, they
it's
showed him
just
with those
no
kids
there's no happy
having.
endings in Andor.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, even the droid that we love is not going to get a happy ending. And
Nope.
even if we get K2, we know what happens to him. So I mean, it's like
Yep. Yeah.
this is a
Everyone
terrible,
died.
terrible story. I don't know why we like it so much.
It makes you feel things. It's
It
realistic.
does.
It makes you feel things. Well, here we are. It's after 9. Yeah, the episodes have dropped. Everybody wants to get off to it. So I just want to say thank you all for joining us tonight. It was a great talk. I love having this opportunity. Um, if you're interested, I believe tomorrow night, Jack and tomorrow Jack and Charlie are going to record, I believe, and then Thursday they'll be dropping their review. So you'll have that review 24 hours after the shows have aired, and then
Yeah.
come back here again next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll give you a little more in depth, get you pumped up again for the next arc.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
First, yeah, Mike, it's great to be back with you. Carlisle, thank
Yes.
you. He says, excellent stream, gentlemen. You got a new
Thanks,
subscriber.
man.
We appreciate that support.
Yes, sir.
Check us out on social media as well, everywhere. Explore the Force. Yeah, I think we'll have an extra 15 minutes next week because we won't be talking about Celebration.
Right.
So, but yeah, this. I think this is going to give us a lot of stuff to talk about moving forward. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's it. I think we need to go upstairs and start watching. So,
Yeah, buddy.
for me and Mike,
All right.
we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.